Welcome one, welcome all to Max's Mic. I'm Max, and I have the mic. Today's episode is going to be all about the New York Yankees and my opinions on how this season is going so far. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Let's get right into it. The Yankees, as of today, August 22nd, are first in the AL East with a record of 75-53. It's a little lower than I expected at this point in the season, and it's due to a few things, and it's due to the lineup not producing as I had hoped. I wish that Oswaldo Cabrera was in the lineup a little more. And I had hoped that we'd get a little more production from Rizzo, who's been injured quite a bit, Stan, who's been injured quite a bit, John Birdie, who's been injured quite a bit, and Verdugo, who hasn't really been injured, although I'm learning now that apparently he was allergic to his batting gloves. That came out a little while ago, but nonetheless, injured. So, some key players not producing. However, Juan Soto is reaching my expectations and Judge as well exceeding my expectations. However, there are two big problems with this team personally that I have that I just wanted to come on the mic and talk about, and I haven't been on the mic a little while. So, making this video, and I'm going to talk about it. First is the bullpen problems. Clay Holmes is the current Yankees closer, although he's blown 10 saves, which I think still leads the MLB. And it's due, in fact, to his struggles with command. His command has really just not been there this season. All of his pitches are up in the low, mid 30%. His sweeper against lefties is in the 40% for ball rate. And if it's not a ball, it's almost always going to be in play. His sliders fouled off quite a bit, 21% of the time. But again, for the most part, he's really just throwing balls and walking guys, or it's in play. And that can lead to an out, but that can also lead to a hit. And for the most part, it has been leading to hits, which have turned into runs that he's allowed and blown saves. And the Yankees really want a closer. They want the second coming of Mariano Rivera. They tried to push it with Aroldis Chapman, and now they're trying to push it with Clay Holmes, and it's not working. And I really think the Yankees need to figure out that they need to start focusing on pitching to the matchup and not really trying to just force a closer. If they want to force a closer and have a guy to be the set closer, I think it should be Tonkin. Michael Tonkin's just been the better reliever, and he's been more consistent than Clay this year. But I think the Yankees just need to pitch the matchup. However, even doing that is going to be hard because they have one lefty in the bullpen. They have one lefty, and that is Tim Hill, who's been all right. Not great, not terrible, but it's really hard to pitch to a matchup, and it's really hard to try and force the hitters into uncomfortable situations towards the back end of games when you've got one lefty. When you're going up against left-handed hitters who struggle against lefties but hit pretty well against righties, and you don't have a left-handed pitcher to put in, so you put in a righty, and they smack the ball around a little bit. Had you put in a lefty, a lot of these guys wouldn't have done that. I know Vladdy's a guy that he's hitting real well this season, but he's a guy that struggles kind of against lefties, and there's a handful of other right-handed hitters and even left-handed hitters that just struggle against lefties, or vice versa, that struggle against righties, and then you're putting Tim Hill in, or you're putting Caleb Ferguson in. It's just, it seems like the Yankees this season, when it comes to their bullpen, have just been rolling a dice, putting every guy's face on a dice, rolling it and being like, all right, it lands on Clay Holmes, or Clay's not even on it. It's just roll it. Lands on Luke Weaver, put him in. Lands on Tonkin, put him in. Lands on Tim Hill, put him in. Now we get to the ninth inning, put in Clay. And I feel like the Yankees also jumped the gun a lot on relievers, and there've been too many games where we're just burning through our bullpen, and it's like, in the long run, Baltimore's going to be the better team because in a 12-inning game, Baltimore's using up 4 relievers, and we're using up all of our relievers. So just bullpen use and guys that are there, and just the way that this bullpen is running isn't optimal. It isn't as good as it can be. And that's not even taking into consideration just the fact that the pitchers aren't really that good. Our bullpen's just not in it. And our starting rotation is really shaky. So just pitching all around, kind of struggling. What's been keeping the Yankees in the game, though, is hitting. Their hitting has really kept them in the season. It's been the real striving point. The Yankees are currently second in the league right now behind the Diamondbacks in runs per game with 5.1 runs per game. Arizona was at 5.3, but the Yankees, I've been monitoring all season. They've been within the top 3-4 teams in runs per game this whole season, offensive runs per game. And that's been the real reason why they've been successful. However, I think the Yankees offense could be more successful if they took care of this second problem I have, and that is the consistency of the lineup. Consistency is key. A lot of these baseball stats are averages. It's a long season, 162 games. And so it comes down to which player is more consistent. And a big thing about consistency is constantly playing and constantly staying in the same spot and not moving around. Allowing players to get comfortable and make strides in a spot and consistently bat in the same spot, I feel is going to prove successful, especially when batters are hitting well. You got a guy like Judge, who has kind of fluctuated in this lineup a bit in past years, but when he's consistently healthy, like 2022, he has a hell of a season. When he's consistently batting in the same spot, like this season, when he's only batted third, he's now batting .334. So that being said, I've decided to take the time, do a little research, and this is what I feel like the Yankees lineup should be. This is based off of partially stats, but also some of these picks are based off of just what I feel like is strategy. One thing the Yankees don't really have is a bona fide leadoff hitter. So batting first, I've taken into consideration and I've picked this player more based on what he can bring later on in games. There have been quite a few games where the Yankees, bottom of the lineup, have been able to get on base, but the top of the lineup hasn't been able to score them. So I'm batting Alex Verdugo leadoff. He's got a .250 batting average when batting first in the lineup. And I really feel that that's going to be good, but also I feel like he's got a really powerful bat that can drive the ball. And if the bottom of the lineup can get hot, which tends to happen sometimes, especially when, I'll get to it later, but I'm going to have Cabrera batting 9. And with Cabrera 9, batting .277 and his speed able to get him in scoring position, and then you've got a guy like Verdugo who can slap a single but can also drive a ball to the warning track. And it's happened. He hit one deep out to center against the White Sox, and then Cabrera scored from second. So there's that 1-2 punch that I've been looking into, and I think the Yankees should stick to. Batting second, Soto and Judge. Obviously, Austin Wells. I have him batting second and third. Soto, Judge, Wells 4. He's really gotten hot. He's batting .270 this season. That's in the fourth inning. My bad. Batting fourth, he's batting .351 batting fourth. I knew it was a higher number. He's batting .351 batting fourth. Why would you take him out of the fourth spot? Really don't know. Batting fifth, and a lot of people are going to be really confused with these next two spots. Yes, Stanton is not in this lineup. Batting fifth, .261 batting average is Gleyber Torres. He's the DH. Why? Because batting sixth, the second baseman, Cabrera's at third. The second baseman is Jazz Chisholm, who's now returning from injury. He's batting .333 with the Yankees in that sixth spot. So keep him there. Batting 7, Anthony Volpe, who's batting .280 in the 7th spot, and Ben Rice batting 8th. Ben Rice is kind of struggling this season, batting 8th at 125. So you can honestly I'm going to flip them back. And I'm going to keep it that way. So Ben Rice, in the 7th spot, batting 333, and Volpe in the 8, batting 235. So I really don't know, although that's only in 17 at-bats. So I think that number is going to go up when he gets a few more at-bats, but I like Volpe there just because Ben Rice, that's where he's found his success, is batting in that 7th spot. And honestly, I feel like Volpe is slowly getting his swing back, especially now in the second half post All-Star break. Volpe's batting 267, which is an improvement from the 245 prior or before the All-Star break. So I think that he'll just be able to find his spot lower in the lineup. I feel like he's just kind of a lower lineup guy. Plus, that's good to have some speed at the bottom of the lineup. And then again, I got Cabrera batting 9. So that's what I think the Yankees lineup should be. That's what I think it should look like. And it's based off of the stats and a little bit of just baseball strategy. But that being said, it's just a matter of getting these guys hot. And in order to get hot, they've got to be in the lineup and consistently playing. And you got a guy like Cabrera, who's not always in the lineup. But when he's in the lineup, he's really producing. And he's smacking the ball around and he's getting things done. I don't really know if I don't really know what's going on with him. And honestly, he's a pretty solid third baseman. Again, it's about consistency. It's about just consistently playing in a spot. When you look at it, and I feel like a guy whose career has just been ruined is DJ LeMahieu. You look at his stats before coming to the Yankees. He's a Gold Glover second baseman 4 times. I think his career batting average was in like the 280, 290s. He had like, 1 or 2 300 batting average seasons. All of a sudden, he comes to the Yankees, and 2 things go down when he comes to the Yankees. His playing time at second base and his batting average. Coincidence? I think not. But we'll never know because now he's too banged up to really be reliable at second base, and they'll never even consider putting him there. But that's my 2 cents. I think consistency is key in getting a lot of these players consistently in one spot. Even if it's not where I think it is, if it's just in the lineup, in a spot, and stick to it. Because look back at the start of the season, first series or 2, there wasn't much change to this lineup. The only real change is when Trent Grisham came in and Judge DH. But other than that, really wasn't much changing in this lineup. And what were we doing? We were crushing teams. And that was when Judge wasn't batting well. Judge was batting 100. We were dominating teams, and we had a consistently same lineup. Now, all of a sudden, LeMahieu comes back. Now we're throwing lineups around, and we're constantly changing things, and Birdie's hurt, and we can't figure it out. So use the bullpen better and stick to a consistent lineup, and I think the Yankees will see a lot more improvements, a lot more winning, and maybe a deep playoff run. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode of Max's Mike. I hope you'll have a great day, the rest of your evening, night. It's pretty late right now, so honestly, a lot of y'all should go to sleep. If it's the next day, the 23rd, then good morning. But I hope y'all have an amazing weekend. Take care and goodbye.